Hey guys, it's been a long old season, but we're on match day 37 and we're almost there. It's almost done. And I know we are all thinking about that fourth star, the Champions League fourth star. Last season, it was all about the second star. This season, we're all thinking about that Champions League, of course, as the seasons develop. But we can't just yet give up, guys. I know some people have just that's like forget about the Scudetto now, just leave it to Napoli, let Conte win it, who cares? And I do understand that, but we are right there. If you following me on this channel for a few years, even in the Milan winning Scudetto winning season, I tried to believe right until the end, even as things were not looking good for us, and I'll still do it. I don't care, it's just the way I am. Maybe it's delusional. It's probably not actually, what my mind says. I don't think Napoli and Conte are going to drop it from here, but it can happen. It can happen. We're right there, 1 point behind. Even the draw for Napoli and a win for us takes us back into the lead. So, and I know for sure that Inzaghi and the boys haven't given up on it. Of course, there is no way that the mind and the bodies are not already thinking about that Champions League final against PSG. Imagine being some of these players like the Barellas, the Bastonis, the Acerbis, the Lautaros, the guys that have played the Champions League final and lost it 2 years back. They do not want to miss that game for sure. Imagine missing the Champions League final. That's like a heartbreak in and of itself, even if you lose it. And then not having the chance to make up for that, that redemption story. So you can imagine, even if they want to win against Lazio tomorrow, it's not going to be easy. But they might be almost, pulling back 5%. You don't want to get that injury, even if it's like a tiny little, hamstring pull. You saw, remember what happened? Mkhitaryan and the Champions League final was out injured. I'm sure Mkhitaryan doesn't want to do that again. No one wants to do that. So, of course, the PSG game is going to be at the back of the mind of every single player. But we saw against Torino, even with a rotated team, we can do it. And Inzaghi's even starting to play around with different ideas and different formations, which is nice to see finally. But anyway, before we get into it, guys, leave a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel on our road to 12K subs now. And yeah, this is the state of play in terms of the table. But how are we looking in terms of against Lazio? And first of all, tomorrow when we play Lazio, 7:45 UK time kickoff PM. It's the last home game, guys. So whether you think the Primavera should play tomorrow or the starter team should play, it is the last home game. And Interisti at the stadium, they always make a show when it's the last game of the season, whether we've had a not a good season or a great season, they always show up. We always show up in numbers. Usually the Meazza is pretty much sold out. It's a show. The fans are singing the whole way, and it's like a send-off for the players for the season, because where the last game of the season is Como away, which is actually not too bad. It's only half an hour down the road. And obviously the Champions League final is in Munich. So the crowd will be there, the push will be there, and by the looks of it, Inzaghi is not rotating, guys. This is full strength as it can be at this moment with the injuries. Here it is. Full strength lineup. Bisek, Acerbi, Bastoni at the back. Dumfries, Barella, Hakan, Zielinski coming in for Mkhitaryan, and Di Marco on the left wing back. And then up front with Lautaro still out injured, Taremi and Turan, double T to attack, because the current injury situation is like this. Pavard, Frattesi, Mkhitaryan all in doubt. They've all recovered. They're all part of training, but not fully fit at the moment. No one is disqualified. Lautaro at the moment is still being looked after in terms of his hamstring injury, which he forcefully played through in the Champions League. So, but it looks like he'll still be on the bench here, it says. So I don't know how that will work out. So, yeah, even if you count Zielinski is not a starter, this is a full strength lineup. Taremi, yes, but hopefully Taremi can continue having the form that he's recently started to show. Since his comeback, we know now that he's fully fit. He revealed himself, and Inzaghi said that he's been playing through some injury and some pains throughout the whole season, which is not an excuse but it kind of explains the issues that Taremi's had all season. But if we take into account his last couple of appearances against Barcelona, both appearances against Barcelona were very positive. He, in the first leg, he was better than Lautaro. And then last week against Torino, he won the penalty, deserved the goal as well, worked his ass off. He's starting to look better. It looks like, injury-free Taremi, of course, is obviously going to be better than a slightly injured Taremi. And, if he does want to stake his claim for next season, I think Inter would rather not have to replace three strikers. We already have to replace Correa and Arnautovic. I think unless an offer comes from, Saudi or something that can take him away and give us some money, Inter would probably rather keep Taremi as this experienced backup and then invest in the other two striker positions, because Inter having to invest in three becomes a bit, painful in terms of just getting the right profiles, the money, the wages, all that kind of stuff. So, and second season, it could help him, but he needs to really show signs of life outside of just running and working hard and winning penalties or assisting. We need him to start providing, final product. But anyway, I was talking about how the recent fixtures against Lazio have looked very good recently. In the Coppa Italia, we beat them 2-0, the game that I didn't want to win. But yeah, we beat them quite comfortably 2-0. And then, of course, we smashed them at the Olimpico back in December 6-0, maybe one of the best Inter performances in terms of output. We did actually struggle with the first 15-20 minutes in that game. And then afterwards, we just took Lazio apart. And then before that as well, a draw, another win for Inter, another 2-0 win for Inter, 3-1. So it's interesting, until I bring up these stats of recent games, in my mind, I'm thinking, yeah, Lazio, it's a tough game. But actually, 5 out of 6 wins the last time we've played. So that's good. And then Lazio haven't been in great form recently, kind of winning, drawing. Well, actually, that's better form than us, right? But they've kind of dropped off. They had a very good start to the season, and then they kind of just dropped off recently. Where are they in the Serie? They are 5th still, so they definitely have a lot to play for. They can still make Champions League, and I actually would like them to make it ahead of Juventus, but obviously I don't want them to win tomorrow, and they obviously want to stay ahead of Roma, their arch rivals. So they've got a lot to play for. Let's have a quick look at Lazio's lineup for tomorrow's game. Mandas, who has become the starter goalkeeper. Right decision by Baroni. He's better than Provedel now. At the back, Nuno Tavares is missing, so here it says he's unavailable, but I read from some Lazio outlets that he should be back, at least available on the bench. But that's a big miss for them, that power and that pace coming from left back, and Marusic does have a mistake in him. And then they are also Isaksen, even though he's starting here. I also read that Isaksen's a big doubt for this game, so maybe Chauna probably will come in. But it's decent lineup. Of course, the standout players: Rovella, Mario Hila, Pedro's come up with a few goals here and there this season. Always big goals. Bulay Diaz, always someone to watch out for. But at home, last game of the season, still trying to push Napoli right until the end. I think we should be able to beat this team. But will we? Will we be able to beat this team? I don't know. On the other side, let's have a quick look how Napoli are lining up, because this, if you remember my prediction a few weeks back, I did my final Scudetto prediction where I said Inter will take Napoli to the Scudetto playoff, because I think there will be points dropped from both teams. And it could be getting there. So Napoli here says a 4-4-2, but actually it's pretty much a hybrid 3-5-2 where Spinazzola pushes up, Di Lorenzo tucks in. Obviously, Scott McTominay, Mexos is allowed that freedom to bomb into the box, get more central, get his goals and assists that he's been getting this season. And yeah, Lukaku and Raspadori close together up front. Good lineup, but they're missing Lobotka, they're missing Buongiorno, Juan Jesus. So, yeah, it's not their full strength lineup. We saw them struggling against Genoa last week. The pressure is starting to get to them by the looks of it. How are Parma looking? We saw Parma. They have taken some big scalps this season. They got points off us. They beat Milan. They took points off Juve. They're a tricky team under Christian Kivu, who can hopefully do us a favor as an Inter triplete legend and long-time Inter player. Yeah, and of course, Andrew Boni. If you didn't watch my transfer market video the other day, this is your chance, Andrew Boni. If you want to win over Interisti, win over Inter directors to make that 15, 20 million euro splash on you, a goal tomorrow is going to be perfect timing for you, my friend. That will propel your career to the next level. And they are playing at the exact same time as us, by the way, guys, if you didn't know. So it's going to be a simultaneous game between us and Napoli. So exact same time. The two teams won't know their score of each other, of the other result on the other side. And Napoli are away at Parma as well. And Parma have to fight for their life, guys. I don't want to put too much, hope into this game. But remember, last week I had no hope from Genoa. So actually, I'm going to start playing it the other way. They're kind of safe already, Parma. Yeah, they're not going to try. Boni, who cares? He's not going to do anything. Yeah, it's an easy Napoli win. Easy Napoli win. Anyway, going back to Inter, let's finish up with a prediction for tomorrow. I have sounded quite positive, and the lineup is definitely better than Lazio's, but they're fighting for top four. We're obviously going to have a half a mind and body and soul into the PSG game. I can see us dropping points. I can see this ending in a draw painfully. And it'll be even more painful if Napoli drop points and we just get a draw in this game. So I'm going to predict a 1-1 or a 2-2 draw. But the most important thing, to be honest, is just getting no injuries in this game. I saw Anthony from Inter Worldwide, who made his short video, and he said, yeah, no thanks, but no injuries. So no injuries will be almost like getting a win here. You guys let me know your prediction in the comments down below. Do you still have faith? What's the score for tomorrow? Are Napoli dropping points? Let me know in the comments down below. See you tomorrow. Not sure if I'll be able to do a match reaction because I'm actually traveling for work tomorrow, but I'll try my best. Ciao ragazzi, always. Forza Inter. Keep believing.